Hey, hello, it's the normal playing guy, and right, so coming out real soon now, we have Toppo and all of his glory and all of what he can do. But also, I very much well suspect, because we're trying to catch up, Max. He is going to outshine and unfortunately totally eclipse. They have no choice. They have to speed things across. They've got until the 10th anniversary to really speed things up. So I can expect this guy as a very high chance. But we'll talk about them both. The main unit is going to be Toppo. That's what this whole celebration is going to evolve around. So we'll have a look at him. He's the transformation character. Looks like he does go into his God of Destruction mode, which is pretty cool. Yet another pretty decent buff to special pose / Defenders of Justice / Universe 11 in particular. So what do we have? Okay, so special pose, tournament participants, 170%, and then Defenders of Justice, Space Traveling Warriors, or Final Trump get the additional 30%. That's good because for the outside of Final Trump, for the most part of this, that will qualify for this guy for an overlap. We have a look at his best partners. It is indeed going to be Universe 11 / TOP. Right, because we're just looking at like Easy A Jiren, Easy A Toppo, the new Dispo, this guy. Let's see, Tournament of Power comes into play, and for some reason, probably only because of special pose, we do have the Gammas because of that. So that's definitely coming into play. So you can have some pretty decent people on this, but I suspect you're probably going to want a Tournament of Power kind of deal run, which would be pretty good. Anyway, what does this guy do? We have an entrance animation. Okay, we reduce damage by 11% for the rest of the battle. Okay, and guards all attacks for 3 turns from his entry when there are 2 or more special pose or Defenders of Justice allies on the team. Okay, that's pretty good. 200% to stats. Okay, what are we working with? 55% comes in with 13 and a bit thousand attack. Okay, and a rather disappointing, a little under 9,000 defense. It's kind of disappointing. With one dupe, it's a little bit better. Decent attack, 10,000 defense. That's kind of disappointing. Let's see. But let's just see. An additional 150% on super attack. Okay, that's just attack. However, your super attack effect greatly raises both attack and defense for the turn, so that's a 50% raise, whilst attack is going to be nice. You do reduce damage received by 20% flat out, which is nice. So for the first few turns, you're going to get 31% damage. That's nice. Otherwise, that's doable. Changes int to rainbow when HP is 50% or more. Okay. Special pose, Defenders of Justice, 1 key, 30% to stats. That's nice. The key maybe not so much because I think this particular team, they have that. But still, it's nice that you're giving them stats. This, in essence, will be like a super attack buff. So it's no joke. An additional 50% defense after you receive an attack. Another defense, 200%. And you guard as the first attacker. Okay, so this only triggers when you're attacking, so a little bit of a problem there. 100% to both attack and defense when performing a super attack as 2 or 3. Okay, so the problem, so there's a difference between slot 1 and first attacker. If you're just in slot 1, you're going to get all the buffs. If you're the first attacker in a turn, this only applies on attack. So that's disappointing. So you'll get this. So you'll receive an attack, you'll get it. But only when you actually... So if there's a lot of hits first up, you're going to get smacked around. So you're better off putting him in slot 2 or 3. And the enemy does seem to attack slot 1 or 3. It's okay. I mean, obviously we got a transformation state coming in, but no matter, I mean, this is so low that no matter how many 200%, doesn't matter how many 100% you see, it's based off this. This is essentially the first Dockenfest unit, or technically the second now actually, into the past the 9th anniversary, so the 10th era, and we're still at this low stats. This is interesting. Obviously, don't get me wrong, this unit will transform. I mean, all transformation units are pretty meh. It's all relying on the transformation state. It's doable. The point is, if this actually does apply, just being in slot 1, that's fine. If it is implying, because not all slot 1 units that are worded the same get it on there. I mean, some of them get it as the first attack. But if it is indeed just by being in slot 1, then that's not too bad, because you're guaranteed to have guard with a bonus to defense. The bonus to defense is again based off what we got here, so it's nothing special. I'd imagine you would need certainly Rainbow to get anywhere near something decent out of this unit. But if it is just being in slot 1, that's fine. We have a transformation. It's when we turn into the God mode. Special pose all Defenders of Justice ally in the same turn from the 4th turn of battle or 6th turn otherwise if you don't have him. Since you're going to be given a key and stats, and also have damage reduction and additional guard just for having them on the team, the chances of it being in 4th turn is good. It means you can float them off in turn 1, come back and you'll automatically transform, which would be pretty good. So let's have a look. When you do transform, what do we have? 3 key, 300%. Okay, we're getting somewhere. Remember, it's still... This is the stats you're looking at here. It's these two, 13.3 and 8.7. It's all well and good having that, but it's still 300% or something low. A huge amount of attack on attack, 250% on attack. Super attack effect massively raises attack, which is 100% raised to only attack. Oh, it stacks. Oh, beg your pardon. Massively stacks attack. It's actually really nice. 30% defense for the turn. You know, I gotta wonder, given the meta that we're in, why can't this just be massively raise attack and defense? Why, even if it didn't stack, why can't it be massively stack attack, massively raise defense for the turn? Why is that not a thing? Okay, 100% defense when receiving an attack. Okay. Into Rainbow still, but this is just unconditional. Guaranteed guard, unconditional. Okay, reduce damage by 80%, and with each attack received, you lose 8%, no more than 60. So you end up with still 20% damage reduction. Okay, think about this. You have 80% damage reduction, but that first hit, you get an additional defensive buff, which helps compensate. If that... the very first hit is a super attack, you're fine. And arguably, you could say the first or second hit's a super attack, you're fine. And that's actually pretty good, because 80% there's a bit of a difference between 80 and was essentially 70. So even if the first off is a super attack, 80% damage reduction, not much is getting by. I say that, and I have proof otherwise. But yes. It would mean then that if the first hit is just a normal, you get this, then, you know, every one afterwards, even if it is a super attack after X amount of hits, it's going to be looking better. Considering that, I mean, if this was massively raised on defense, even if it's just for the turn, you'd find that would be absolutely insane. It would be a really good go-to unit. Nullify Key Blast Super directed at the unit for one turn from your entry turn, and starting from your next turn you have a 50% chance. Okay, so it's guaranteed. Oh, okay. So Key Blast, so that's most of the game is Key Blast. Right, fair enough. Then you have a 50-50 chance. It's not bad. You have an active skill. From the 6th turn, so it's a few more, so you could actually do it. If you transformed on the 6th turn, you'd be able to do this instantly. Otherwise, you'd have a few more turns. Appears to massively raise attack, and that's fine. all attacks become crits, for which you're massively stacking attack. So he's not going to struggle with attack. And he's getting this with this. Yeah, no, he's... and potentially with other supports on what is essentially probably by now a 200% team. I don't think we can say otherwise now. There's been enough of them that's probably going to be a thing. Okay, so what does he have? Supreme Warrior, Tough as Nails, Shocking Speed, Solid Support, and those three. And this is the teams he's on. So what? In particular, he's going to be good on TOP, Universe 11, Tournament Participants, and then perhaps these three. Maybe not Space Traveling Warriors, because if you did, you'd have to build a team around Defenders of Justice and Special Pose. That's actually not so bad, because Ginyu rocks that one. Still one of the best units in the game, and hell, actually a surprisingly decent team still. So you might actually be able to take him on. Speaking of the best units going... Okay, so it's no doubt that the very same one has it, but since, I mean, I suppose the guest as well, so you know that the guest is going to share quite a fair few links with this guy. But otherwise, Easy A Toppo STR, he's sharing all the links. Are you actually going to be running this guy? No, you probably won't. Jiren, on the other hand, you probably would run this guy. He's fairly decent. Again, you're getting a couple of key links, but plenty of attacking power. LR Jiren. Obviously LR Jiren, especially with his Easy A, is definitely becoming into that kind of thing, right? He's definitely just Dokken's a brick wall. If you just need a brick wall for anything, then yeah, you've got it. So he could be a pretty good one. They could be a pretty nasty combination. There are some pretty wonky units on here. Yeah, okay, right. Okay, so one thing's for sure. Okay, so touching back on this. Reduce damage received by 80%. Okay, so if it's a super attack, even if you have 80% damage reduction, you can still get clapped if your defense isn't great. For example, this unit. They have a particular perk where you get 3 orbs, that's 21% damage reduction. Plus you get an additional 50 when you pop your active skill. Or rather, you get an additional 50 when you fall below a certain amount of HP. That's to compensate for when you use your active skill, you lose 50% defense. If that active skill is triggered and you half your defense, but to compensate, you've got the other half, the passive, for being under 50%, you still get clapped, even though you've got 71% defense. You will die because their defense is halved. And it's the same deal with this, depending on how much defense this guy has. 80% will do nothing if you don't have any stats. And I'm worried that at 55%, this just isn't high enough to the point where this is good. And even if he is, by the end of your rotation, he just isn't going to be, because he's lost too much damage reduction. He might tank one super attack, but he sure as hell will not tank the next. That's the problem. He opens up strong, but he's not a consistent fella. That being said, he is going to work really well. There are a few teams and a few people he can help out. If you happen to summon on this guy, he is going to help out on a lot of these teams. These three at the bottom, you could throw him on because he will gain the additional damage reduction and guard for a few turns just by having such a person on the team. So he can fit in just absolutely anywhere. He does have more people. I mean, the links, I know, let's just go back to this guy, for example, because he's got Warrior Gods or whatever it was that's affecting him. Because, for example, the Gammas. Signature Pose, Fierce Battle, Defenders of Justice, Special Pose. You're getting a few key links. You're probably going to be getting a key link in Fierce Battle still in the God mode. The only real difference is, of course, this guy and this guy is more prevalent. So you are still going to get these people who are still going to link out. Most importantly, it's not a problem. So you can still pick out a team for him. But my worry is if you try and rely on him, He's not going to go too well. I'd like to think he's good, but he definitely seems like a short burst kind of territory dude. Definitely isn't a long haul fight. No. The damage reduction, let's say it capped out at 60, so he only lost 20%. Then suddenly maybe you might actually be looking okay. But no. To further prove, it's more like he's guaranteed to nullify Ki Blast supers only off the first turn. So he's definitely all out in one go. And then from then on out he gets substantially more mid and more useless as it goes on. Guard is nice. That will help him out. Yeah, you could put him in slot 2 or 3, get a couple of super attacks, but there's no additionals, so you'd have to rely on additionals. And then hopefully you don't take a nasty super attack where you can actually get that and take a couple more. That could be a thing. It remains to be seen. I mean, here is Universe 11. He fits in quite nice purely because Universe 11 is still one of the worst teams going. And I would say that's because of the roster size. And that's really about it. Next, and I would say perhaps the most important thing coming, and I would be massively surprised if it isn't going to be here. Cell Max. Only just released on the Japan side, and now will finally be caught up very quick. He is allegedly an absolute demon, one of the best extreme class units, and no doubt LR Cell Max will just be what everyone will be saving their stones for. Artificial life form super bosses 150%, but most LRs are that. Okay, so their super attack 12 key greatly raises attack, and then your 18 key greatly raises attack but lowers attack and defense. So powerful. We have an entrance animation, 100% to stats, guards all attacks, 50% chance to do a additional that has a 50% chance to super for the first 3 turns when there is just one other artificial life forms or super bosses ally on the team. Nice. Outside of that, you get 5 key 300%. Okay, you get 5 key 300%, and then for the first 3 turns you get an additional 100% on top of that. That means you get 600% to stats for the first few turns. 55% is 11,000. 17,000 attack. I wish I could see. I'd imagine then that this is closer to 12,000 defense, and it's very much close to 18,000 attack. It's going to be like, yeah, it's going to be 12,000 defense, 17,500 attack. That's strong. You think, yeah, that's more like it. 300%. An additional 1 key up to 5, 20% attack up to 100 with each attack performed. An additional 1 key up to 5, 20% defense to 100 with each attack received. Think about this. Oh wow, okay. So you get 300% plus an additional 100% off that. So you start off with literally double your start of turn stats. Every attack you get, you're getting 20% on top of guard. So long as it's on some difficult contents, there's a couple of phases, only just so you can build up. If you prioritize this guy, he's going to build up extremely rapidly. So that's something. You get an additional attack, 50% chance to super. Okay, so you have 2. So for the first few turns, you'll have 2 normals, each with a 50% chance to super. Otherwise, you're just privy to 1. 250% defense and reduced damage received by 30% when all allies in the same turn are artificial life forms, movie boss or super boss. Holy mother, 200, wow. They just went nuts on this, because that means that's unconditional. That's not like a HP restriction. That's a thing. Jesus. Think about Toppo, who has 80% damage reduction but loses it and becomes weaker. This guy has unconditional. I know it's an LR, but it's an unconditional 250% defense and 30% damage reduction. All allies in the same turn have to, but all allies in the same turn being super boss or movie boss, that's not impossible. In fact, that's super easy. Broly's team of super bosses, in fact, yeah, I think it's Broly's turn of super bosses, or is it in Physical Rose? They are just, like, super bosses is an absolute beast of a team. If you have him, he is going to be the pillar of tankiness. He will be a literal god of tank. I don't know what it is. It might be a real thing. An additional 250% attack and 30% chance to crit when there are no superhero allies in the turn. Again, you wouldn't have any superhero allies in the turn because you'd be rocking him on a super boss. So that means he gets 250% attack and defense, 30% crit, 30% damage reduction. Oof. Right. Launches an additional super attack after he receives just one attack. So you do your super attack, you'll get hit, so you'll have another one. So there's 2 super attacks. Flip a coin twice, so you can do 4 on your hidden potential system. So you could do 4 super attacks, hidden potential system 5, each one raising attack. It's pretty nuts. It's pretty nuts. And with every attack performed, you're building 20% attack as well. This is definitively designed. Yeah, I mean, look at this as well. This is definitively designed to help crush any event. It's like Beast Gohan for the superheroes. Cell Max is for the super bosses. This is strictly designed to cheese the game. They've finally given us some units worthy of actually summoning for. They actually give us a chat. These events are I'm not going to say they're only going to be doable, but they're only going to be doable if you have this guy or Beast Gohan. They are strictly designed. Even the active skill. This can be done all allies in the same turn of, say, like super bosses or artificial life forms from the 4th turn. What does it do? Defense 1000%. That is an extraordinary. You pop this, and let's say you're fully built up. Your defense number literally will probably hit 3 million for the first time ever. I mean, it's difficult-ish to break the 1 million barrier, but this literally is going to be like 2 million defense. It just is. And redirects all the attacks. Massively raises attack for the turn. Directs all attacks to the yeah, it is. It's Beast Gohan, but for him, wow, he is. Wow, that's pretty mental. It's not going to show me who his best partners are, but considering he's made to go alongside super bosses, and he has Nightmare, Fierce Battle, Legendary Power, and Big Bad Bosses, the rest you're not going to worry about. The others you are. Big Bad Bosses, Legendary Power, Nightmare, and Fierce Battle. Yeesh, that is. Hey, Toppo, forget about him. Seriously, just summon on this guy, because no one is other than Wales, unless you just really like Toppo. You're just gonna summon, aren't you? You just will. Period. Right, okay, well, enough's enough. It's been a long enough video. Pretty bonkers. Toppo's coming up next, and if it isn't Cell Max, I'll be greatly surprised. But Toppo is decent. He's very good for a short bash. Do not use him in long events. Seems reasonable, right? Seems reasonable. But I guess I'll have a better opinion when I use this guy. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. This has been a long enough video, and if you liked it, brilliant, and you'll have all the best of luck in your summons. But if you didn't like it, sucks to be you. But anyway, thank you very much, and I'll see you, and bye.